everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cardboard Cave podcast. I am here with
And
JP.
it's me. It's me,
Yeah,
JP.
awesome.
Uh,
It's us two only. John couldn't make it. He's doing family stuff, and Chris, he has a new job, so he's getting the sweet bacon, so he can spend all his bacon on more
the moolah.
cards. Here is moolah in more cardboard because God knows he's just gonna spend it on magic cards. We know him. He does this all the time. So hopefully, he's with us soon and we can all four of us be together talking about like the aftermath of whatever this new set is going to look like, because this set is a little bit unprecedented and I kind of want to like touch upon that a little bit. There's two things I want to touch upon. This set is basically 1.5 sets into one. That's like the first thing. The other thing is, apparently, and maybe JP can confirm this, is it not the set with the most legendary, I would say, spells ever in one singular magic set? Am I wrong in that?
Probably you'd be right. Mark Rosewater mentioned that this is not going to be the norm.
Mhm.
They are actually going to cut back by a significant margin.
Yeah.
They realize that this is like shit. Okay, this is too much. This is too much, and they're trying to do a crossover set every year now. So last year was like March of the Machines and Aftermath.
Yep.
In this case, since they decided to eliminate the big score,
Yeah.
it's just Outlaws of Thunder Junction. But now, because we only have Outlaws of Thunder Junction, we have the main set, the bonus cards that are like the alternate arts.
Yep.
Then we have the
Breaking news.
those are the breaking news, and
Yep.
we have the breaking news and the like the wanted posters. We have
Yes.
the main set. We have the big score bonus sheet.
Yep.
And some commander cards that are gonna come in.
And don't forget the artist,
and
guest
the special
artist,
guest.
special guest. Yes, it's so much.
It's five. It's like 5 to 6 things. It's a crazy set.
Yeah, it's
A lot of
crazy.
people were saying like that they're not gonna buy it from the set, and I think honestly, it's gonna be a mistake. Not
Mhm.
because the set is good, but because the set can have good stuff. The bonus sheet cards, the jailhouse, the wanted poster jail things,
Yeah.
there's just so many alternate versions of different things.
Yeah.
You're bound to get at least something of value.
Yeah, you have some of these
Uh,
bonus sheets this time around. And do they have a list? Is the list here too? Or
yeah.
oh my god, see what you mean? Like, so you're bound to hit something. Like every booster is bound to like hit any of these bonus sheets because there's so many of them. So I think you're right in that. Like,
It's one
and
per booster for certain things.
yeah,
I'm not sure if the big score bonus sheet
I
is
would
gonna be
assume
is gonna be included.
because for people who don't know, obviously Outlaws of Thunder Junction is in standard, but the big score obviously is in standard too. So my guess would be what you're saying, that the big score has to be at least one card per booster because that has to be boosted because they are standard playable cards. The other ones aren't, so they can skew with saying like, oh, every 3 boosters you can get like a breaking news card or a special guest
Every
card.
10 boosters, every
Yeah,
3 boosters,
exactly. They could screw over the player base with that, but they can't do it with the big scorecards because those are, even though they're probably not going to be played, and we're going to talk about that. They are standard legal, so they can't like do like a misfire like when they did Fate of Nexus of Fate. That they only made it like a like a special card you can only get per booster box, and that like destroyed the value of that card and made it really hard to get because it was a very playable card. So if one of these cards happens to be very playable and people can't get a hold of it, it's going to become a huge problem. So I think they kind of have to make it one per booster.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's get into this. Since basically all of Outlaws of Thunder Junction has been spoiled, we're just gonna go through highlights, stuff that we see that we find interesting. We're gonna stop and talk about it, but because it's just too many cards. And we're going to lightly touch upon the big scorecards that have been revealed until now. We are recording this on April 3rd, so there might be a few extra cards they spoil in the next coming days. And obviously, we won't be able to talk about the commander stuff, but we will definitely talk about the commander stuff because I'm very interested in that next week. So let's start.
So
JP, go ahead.
I just want to mention a notable reprint. This card wasn't really expensive, but
Mhm.
it's a nice reprint.
Yes.
Nonetheless, it's Archangel of Tides. It's
Mhm.
one white, white, white for a 3/5 angel. If it's attacking, you can't. Those creatures, like if it's untapped,
Mhm.
those creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their control is phase one. And
Yep.
as long as it's attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller plays one for each of those creatures. It's a nice reprint. I don't
Mhm.
think it was that expensive. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and it's
But
basically like a propaganda type of card. So,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna be covering key
Mhm.
cards,
Yeah.
just cards that catch your eye.
Yeah, another round is
So
kind of interesting. It's a blink. You just blink a lot in sorcery speed. It's not amazing,
yes,
but you get to blink a lot and you get to repeat it X times. So, if you have like a Brago type of deck, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Okay.
Aven Interrupter is another one of the key cards. It's
Yes.
one white white for a 2/2 creature bird rogue with flash flying. When it enters, you exile target spell and it becomes plotted.
Yes.
Spells your opponent's cast from graveyard or exile cost 2 more to cast.
Hmm.
It's a white counter spell.
Yep. It's a white counter spell, and it's gonna turn whatever that card was into a sorcery speed card. So, if, for example, you played something and then they wanted to counter you, and then you play Naven Interrupter on top of it, that counter spell that you just negated basically is useless because since it becomes
Yes.
plotted, the opponent can only cast it at a later turn at sorcery
As
speed,
sorcery speed,
which
yeah.
is horrifying. And on top of that, it's tax. So even if it wasn't like a counter spell, it's already taxed to hell, and that the opponent's probably never going to be able to cast that card again, whatever it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the more notable cards in white
very strong,
in general.
very strong.
Another notable card
Mhm.
is like Final Showdown. Is
Yes, we can start talking about the spree
the
cards, which is another new
spree
mechanic.
card.
Yeah,
It's basically kicker,
yeah.
but the initial cost is very low usually, and then you get to cast the additional abilities, and you get to choose one or more. You can't
Yes.
choose the same one multiple times,
Sadly.
but it's interesting
Mhm.
because people were talking about this for Atnas format, in this case
Mhm.
CEDH and or just general commander. Although you shouldn't, maybe not shouldn't, but probably I'd advise against playing at nauseum in casual settings.
Yeah.
But this is a low mana cost with additional effects that you can pay additional mana costs.
Yep.
So decks that care about the mana value,
Mhm.
this is very good. In this case, Final Showdown is one white for an instant. You pay the spree cost of one to all creatures lose all abilities until end of turn,
Mhm.
or with one mana, choose a creature you control. It gains indestructible until end of turn, or 5 mana, 3 white white, destroy all creatures.
And you can pay
It's
for
an
all of them too, which is
instant, by the
insane.
way.
It's an
It's a
instant.
six mana.
That's the part that's like
It's a
key
six
here.
mana instant board wipe.
With extra abilities if you choose to pay them. The other thing is that in Commander, if you stick this in an Isochron Scepter, and this applies to a lot of these spree cards because they're so low costed, you have repeatable board wipes, you have repeatable choose something to make it indestructible, you have repeatable lose ability. So there's a lot of like versatility. Probably people, unless you're actively choosing not to use Isochron Scepter to just win the game by a combo, this is a good target for that because of the versatility that it has.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Fortune Loyal Steed.
Go ahead.
He's a
Uncommon.
two and a
Good.
white. No, he's a rare.
Oh. Oh yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
2 and a white for a 2/4 legendary creature beast mount. When he enters, you scry 2, and whenever he attacks while saddled at the end of combat, you blink both creatures, him and the exile it and up to one creature that saddled it this turn.
Mm-hmm.
And he has saddle 1. So saddle works like vehicles,
Yep. You crew.
like crew
Yep.
specifically,
Mm-hmm.
except you can only saddle as a sorcery,
Yes.
mostly because it started creating problems with further cards with the saddle ability.
Yep.
But I just wanted to mention this one in specific, mostly because it's the first one we see with saddle, and I wanted to explain exactly that saddle is at sorcery speed. It's
Mm-hmm.
crew for creatures at sorcery speed.
But the upside is, since you can only crew at sorcery speed, this is also a creature. It's a creature you can actually use, as opposed to
Yes.
the vehicles, which are always artifacts unless you crew them. So you can have this as a creature. It can attack as a creature, but you get upside if you decide to saddle it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next card is High Noon.
Oh yeah.
One and a white for each for an enchantment. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn, and
Mhm.
has 4 and a red. Sacrifice High Noon. It deals 5 damage to any target.
Yep.
A 2 mana Rule of Law effect. This is technically not the cheapest one, since Deafening Silence exists, but
Mhm.
this is the one that replicates Rule of Law the best, and it can eliminate itself. So when you're done stacking the board and you need to combo off, you just sacrifice this and go off.
And go off, exactly. You can stop the
This one's
opponent until you don't need to, and then you're just gonna win. Yep.
gonna see play somewhere. I know it's probably not gonna be expensive, but this one is like very good.
Yeah. You want to talk about the
Uh,
memes here? There's a lot of memes in this
the,
set.
holy cow!
There's a holy cow. Uh, it's a little cringe, but Wizards made a card called Holy Cow, 2 colorless and a white. It's an Ox Angel, it's a 2/2, has flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and scry 1. It's cute because it has a good ability and it has flash and flying. But yeah, Wizards, what the hell? That's all I had to say on that one.
The last white card, like white specific card I want to talk about is
Mhm.
Requisition Raid.
Okay, let's go. There you go.
The only reason
Free.
it's not better is because it's an instant speed, but
Mhm.
it's 1 mana sorcery. You pay 1 mana, destroy target artifact, 1 mana, destroy target enchantment, or 1 mana, put a +1 counter on each creature target player controls.
Yeah,
Two
very
mana,
strong.
put a +1 counter on each creature is
Insane.
extremely power creeped.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
In addition to all these abilities,
Yeah. So, do you think they created Spree because of Arena? Because of the best of one format? Because people needed some type of flexibility, so you create these type of cards, like the cycle cards. I remember a while back they started printing a lot of cycle cards in order to just have versatility, where you have something that's very useful in a specific situation, but if you don't, you can just draw it away. So this is like the next level on this utility and versatility in one single Magic card.
yes, I do feel like that's one of the main intentions, but also kicker is one of the more common mechanics. It's been throughout in the entirety of Magic,
Mhm.
and it's very beloved. And this is just a different form of kicker.
Yeah.
Most people would argue that every mechanic in Magic the Gathering can be divided into several like archetypes,
Mhm.
and the kicker is one that comes up the most often.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the next card I do want to talk about is already in the blue section.
Yes, I'm guessing
Uh,
Archmage Newt.
yeah, Archmage's Newt.
Mhm.
One in the blue for a 2/2 creature salamander mount. Whenever Archmage's Newt deals combat damage to a player, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost equal to its mana cost. That card gains flashback 0 until end of turn if Archmage's Newt is saddled.
Okay.
Flashback 0 for anything sounds insane. And
Yes.
if you happen to make this unblockable, which its power and toughness do allow it to be more unblockable
Mhm.
with certain cards like Access Tunnel, if I'm not mistaken, it says
Yeah.
it's unblockable for 3 mana for something with power 3 or less. So
Mhm.
yeah, this can be very, very, very interesting.
I'm gonna say this is a trap. I feel
It's
it's
a
a
trap.
trap. I feel like it's a trap
It needs
because it has it
combat
needs a
damage.
lot. It needs a combat damage. It needs a lot of setup to be able to get combat damage. It has saddle 3, so if you want to get that really beefy flashback 0, you just need a lot of stuff to go right in order to get that. Which you can set it up maybe in EDH. I don't know if in standard you can do this unless you have like a very, I don't know, mono blue tempo or mono blue, I don't know, like a type of mono red deck but with blue. Like if you could kind of do the same thing, maybe it could work, and you can just start like flashbacking a lot of cheap draw spells or something like that. Maybe it can work, but I feel like it's a trap. The saddle 3 is them fearing that this could have been too powerful if it would have been saddle 2 or 1. So they just purposely made it saddle 3, so it'll be really difficult for you to pull this off, especially since you have to deal combat damage. I don't know.
This is also one of the reasons why Saddle is a sorcery. Because
Yeah.
imagine attacking
Oh
and
yeah.
oh, I don't block. Okay, I saddle it.
Exactly. That would be insane.
That'd be
Insane.
so good.
Yeah. I want to talk about Double Down. It's fun. It's
I'm
gonna be a
ready.
commander card
Go
for
for
sure.
it.
Double Down is 3 and a blue enchantment. Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, copy that spell. We can talk about outlaw now. Outlaw is the same as when you did the party thing in D&D. No, was
Yes.
it? Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
in D&D.
Yeah.
So it's the outlaws are gonna be assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks are outlaws, and copies of permanent spells become tokens. So basically, stick this in an outlaw deck or stick it in a pirate deck, which is exactly what I'm gonna be doing, and you can get extra copies of your crappy pirates. So that's kind of cool.
Dockside is a pirate.
That's true. You can get 2 dark sides. Oh god, that's insane. You can definitely just win the game with that. The other one is the Duelist of the Mind. It's colorless and a blue. It's star 3, so it'll depend on the
The
amount
ability.
of on the ability. Yeah, so it's a flying vigilance creature. Duelist of the Mind power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. So it's specifically for drawing this turn. Whenever you commit a crime, and committing a crime, we can explain that it is basically whenever you target something of the opponent. I believe it's
Or
like
the opponent.
or the opponent itself. So if it's
Yeah.
something the opponent has or the opponent itself in a positive or negative way, so you can just heal them and you get to commit a crime by
Oh
healing
yeah.
them, which is
People
kind
were
of crazy.
people were talking about adding Feldergriff.
Yes.
Adding crime cards to Feldergriff because you could just yeah, you gain 2 life. I
Yep.
commit a crime.
I commit a crime, which is hilarious in its own right.
Yeah.
So committing a crime is a little wonky the way they kind of keyworded this, because I feel like new players 3 years from now, they're gonna read what is committing a crime and they're just gonna get scared and not play Magic because they think they have to murder someone to get their abilities. So it almost sounds like one of those unset type of abilities. So I don't know, like it's a little wonky and it's kind of easy to pull off because you do a lot of things that are unintentionally committing a crime.
Yeah.
You can thought seize, you can just lightning bolt, you can do so many things, naturalize something. Like everything is a crime basically. So whenever you commit a crime, you may draw a card, and if you do discard a card, this ability triggers only once each turn. So this card, at worst, it's going to be a 2-2, a 2-3. I'm sorry, because you're going to be your natural draw plus the one where you commit a crime. But if your deck is geared towards drawing extra cards with opt type of cards, and I know there's not opt right now in standard, but similar cards to opt. If you draw extra cards, it's going to get very, very strong, and it has flying vigilance, so it can always block something. And this card, I'm mentioning it because it is the world champion of what is this to 2018 2023 Nathan Stewart, world champion. So that's why he designed this card. I'm pretty sure he designed a more broken version of this, and then Watsy said no, and then they kind of like pulled back, and this is what
They
we
probably
got.
said just draw a card.
Yeah,
Just draw the card.
just draw the card. Yep. Go ahead.
And
Anything else?
the next card I want to talk about is Geralf,
Okay, let's go.
which a very, very, very unfortunate naming.
Mm-hmm.
He's Geralf the Flesh Right,
Yes.
but
They did not think this through.
you could really you could make an argument that they were going like they knew what they were doing
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds like another thing.
Yep.
So it's 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, human warlock. He's a 2/3. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn, other than your first spell that turn, create a 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature token. And whenever a zombie enters the battlefield under control, put a +1 counter on it for each other zombie that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. This is obviously going in many blue-black commanders. I just really wanted to talk about it because that unfortunate naming.
Oh yeah. I want to mention Fibblefip because he's kind of cool. One colorless, 2 blue. It's a 1/1. It's homunculus. He has Ward 2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. The top card of the library has plot. The plot cost is equal to its mana cost, and you may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. So it's a pretty useful Fibblefip. I think
you could start amassing plot cards, and all of a sudden you decide, yeah, this is the turn, and you just storm out really
just storm
quickly.
out. Exactly. So I think Phil is kind of cool. I don't know if he's gonna see play, but I feel like even I would want to do like a commander deck with this little guy because it's kind of fun to kind of plot the top cards from your deck. Just not run any counter spells because obviously they're not gonna be used to plot, but just like big dumb spells or something, you can just plot them. and then leave for later.
This is also one of the things I like talking about in terms of
Yeah.
design space. If
Hmm.
you're gonna make a legendary creature that revolves around a mechanic, make that legendary creature be able to produce that mechanic. The best one I usually mention is Lonis Cryptozoologist. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, you make a clue, and he cares about sacrificing clues. So he makes the
Yeah,
resource that you want to be using. In
exactly.
this case, the mechanic is plot, and he facilitates plot by making everything have
Hmm.
plot.
Yep.
So this is like something that should have been done. They learned their lesson with like the 2 mana 0/2 demon
Yeah.
from Kaldheim. You could pay 2 mana to foretell any card in your hand.
Yeah.
That card should have been a legendary, or at least that card should have been what Raynar, the spirit commander from that set, should have
Hmm.
done.
I agree.
Because allowing you to foretell in this case, or in this case, plot by the card itself, is the more interesting and more like stronger effect. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Um,
speaking of like stupid names, I gotta mention Loan Shark.
okay, loan shark.
Is is
Yeah, it's a
all
loan shark.
puns.
It's all puns. Well, since you skipped over the best card in all the set, I'm gonna talk about it. So there's a new Jace, and he's not a creature, which obviously because Jace is so powerful, he just can't become a creature again. He's a planeswalker again. He's a two costed planeswalker, which you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's insane. Wait for it. It's not insane because he has a static ability. You can cast this spell during your first, second, or third turns of the game. It has 3 loyalty. His +1 says draw a card and discard a card. His other +1 says you may exile an online card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. And then a -6 until end of turn. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I want to make note that even though his ability clearly states you can't cast the spell during your first or second or third turn of the game, if you just so happen to have that blue ley line that just so happens to give everything flash, you can cheat this a turn or two earlier than you should, and it can become chaos for the opponent. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like this new
Uh,
Jace or not?
I'm thinking, how about going 3 mana? Is I need to verify a Shardless Agent is in Modern Legal, is it?
I'm not sure. Maybe there. You mean the Cascade card, right?
Yeah.
There's the one Cascade card that it comes at sorcery speed. That's the one
Uh,
that's left. It's the sorcery speed one. I just don't remember the.
so yeah, it's Modern Legal.
Yeah. Okay.
So I cast Shardless Agent for 3 mana. I flip through the cards. I get my Jace. I play the Jace. I +1 another Shardless Agent from my hand
Yeah. Yeah.
to cast another. And if I get another Jace,
Yeah. Just keep
then
Jacing.
just
He's
keep Jacing.
reawakening. He's reawakening. This is very, very push. I think that they knew that this would be insane if it didn't have that first clause of not casting. But I really feel some people are really going to try to put Leyline of Anticipation in their decks to try to cheat this as quickly
I
as
don't.
they can.
I
They're
don't think it's
definitely
gonna be. They're gonna be able to cheat it into play as
trying.
easily as you might think.
Well, it's only with Leyline. If they don't do it with Leyline, they can't really do it because it just says because I mean it was something that Seth mentioned and I didn't notice it since it says your first, second, or third turn. I feel some crazy person is gonna try to cheat it in the opponent's like first or second end phase, so they can have it ready to go a turn or two earlier. Which with 3 loyalty, it's 2 costed. Sure, it would come down in turn 4, but even then, your plus it's 2 pluses and a -6, and the 2 pluses are pretty good. Even though it has the big problem cards like this may have, which is they don't have a protection. They're not making Jason's not making a creature, so there's nothing to block. But on the upside, since you're casting this in turn 4, you're gonna have 2 extra mana to cast something to protect it, to be able to keep
Yeah.
plusing it. So yeah, I feel like people are really going to try to make this work, and yeah, it might be very strong if people don't deal with it very quickly. So
The next card I personally want to talk about is the spree, the 1 mana, sorry, 3 steps ahead, 1 mana blue instant first that has spree.
yeah,
Unless there's anything else you want to talk about from
uh,
here,
yeah, sure. I'm going down and I can't find the card.
it's all the way.
Oh, it's well
There
down.
we go. 3 steps
Oh,
ahead.
okay, strips ahead. Oh yeah, yeah. Talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's one in a blue. Sorry, one blue
Mhm.
for an instant with spree. You play one in a blue for counter target spell. 3 mana to create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, or 2 mana, draw 2 cards, then discard a card.
Yeah.
This is just extremely versatile. I feel like this is
Mhm.
very, very good. I feel really like
Mhm.
I'm mostly thinking it's never gonna be a dead card because you
Yeah.
can pay two in a blue, sorry, 2 in a blue to draw 2 cards and discard a card
Mhm.
and just basically cycle it away. See,
Mhm.
and technically you net a card, like you don't net a card, you stay even on cards, but you see
Mhm.
more cards.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I really like that this is the way it is. One of the more versatile ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, at worst, it's a cancel, and even like a cancel with upside because you can do extra modes is always kind of good. So it's technically the best cancel question mark that there's ever been because even though you have to pay more mana to do the other abilities, you do have a lot of versatility with it. So I agree with you. It's a very good card. If I have space, I would stick it in commander decks. So yeah, it's definitely cool. Is Key to the Vault any good, or should we skip it? I don't remember the trigger.
I'm not really much like interested. It's like
Mhm.
whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at that many
No,
cards
no.
from the top of your library. You may exile an online card from them, put the rest on
Yeah,
the bottom, and you can cast the exile card without paying the mana cost. It
yeah.
can be good.
It can be good, but you need to deal combat damage, so it just
Yeah.
depends if you can get away with that. Okay, let's keep going. There's
Uh,
black cards. Let's go. What do you have?
in the black cards, I want to mention the cool snake horse mount is Caustic Bronco for 1 in a black.
Yep.
Whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand, and you lose life equal to that mana, that card's mana value. If it was, if it isn't saddled,
Mhm.
otherwise each opponent loses that much life. So it's like a Yuriko, but like on a mono black card.
Mhm.
I like it. It's very reminiscent to Dark Confidant and Snake Horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Snake Horse.
The snake horse. Yeah. Just the extra
Yeah.
types. Yeah.
The other card is Gisa the Hellraiser.
Yeah. Geese is really
Legendary
cool.
creature, human warlock. She has ward 2 and pay 2 life. Skeleton and zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. And whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tapped 2/2 black and blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens. This ability triggers only once each turn. They made that trigger only once each turn because you will go infinite. Otherwise, it'd be very easy to
Oh
go
yeah,
infinite.
very
And
easily.
even then, it's so easy to just have a sack ability that deals like that targets something
Mhm.
and have this trigger every turn.
Oh yeah, you can do it in every opponent's turn. It's so
Yeah,
easy. It's so ridiculously easy. Yeah.
it's so easy. Also, I love that her wanted
Her
poster.
wanted
I
post is really
love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I don't like her normal art. Her wanted poster is so good, and Gisa is very dear to my heart. She was my first like proper commander,
Mhm.
so I love it.
Cool. Cool.
Next card is Insatiable Avarice. For 1 in a black, it has spree. You pay 2 more mana to search your library for a card, then shuffle it and put that card on top. Or pay black, and target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. Remember that you could do more, it's like one or more.
Yep. So you
And
can basically
these,
for 5 mana search and draw.
yeah, and these effects always resolve in the way that they are written. So
Mhm.
you will always search first and then draw 3 cards. You cannot
Exactly.
do the opposite.
Yep. Yeah. So it's really good
It's
for
a
in
one
terms
mana
of like
tutor.
standard, yeah, in terms of standard playable tutors, it's really strong because for 3 mana you put it on top. But if you add 2 more mana, it becomes better than most tutors because most tutors are costed in standard like 4 mana. Like that's the baseline generally.
Yeah.
And it goes to your hand, but that's still 1 card. For 1 extra mana, you're getting 2 more cards and taking 3 life, sure, which could be an upside depending on the deck. but you get 2 extra cards, and I love that it actually says draw 3, because in most cases it would have said draw 2 and lose 2 life.
Yes.
But thank God that they know that basically the card that you're getting, the one that you tutored, shouldn't be included in the cards that you draw, because it should have been
Yeah.
in your hand, but you're paying 1 mana less in order to keep it on top.
I'm
So
just
I like
like
how this was costed.
I'm just linking this in like Carrick. You
Yeah.
pay 2 life, you pay 2 life, 2 mana, and then 4 more life. So 6 mana,
Mhm.
6 life, and 2 mana to draw 3 cards and tutor and you put
Tutor a
into
win
your hand the
con.
card. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is very very good.
Very good.
The other card, and this is probably the black card I am most excited about.
Mhm.
Kervik the Punisher.
Yeah.
1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature human warlock. Whenever you commit a crime, exile up to 1 target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. If you do, you lose 2 life.
Yep.
You're just
That's
casting the copy. You're
Yep.
not like uh this is so strong.
Yeah.
This is Black Eternal Witness and Zhao Ho Dun the One-Eyed is 2 and a black for I think a 2/2 with horsemanship that you have to sacrifice in your first main phase to get a black card from the graveyard to your hand. And
Mhm.
basically this does you one better, which is just just get to cast it. And it's whenever you commit a crime, so you can do this multiple times in a turn.
Yeah.
This
No,
is
that's crazy.
black recursion for any card. So instants and sorceries are very, very key for this. I really, really like this.
And very easy to do. I mean, again, committing a crime, it's stupid easy. Especially, I feel like, especially in black, it's really easy to pull off. Red and black are the two that can make like committing a crime very easily. So this is a very, very good card. And since it's not like limited to once per turn, yeah, you can go off and do crazy, crazy things here.
The other card, I like this, but
Hmm.
maybe it's not for everyone. Pitiless Carnage.
Hmm.
Sacrifice any number of permanents you control, then draw that many cards
Yep.
for 3 and a black, and it
And you
has
can plot
plot
it. With
for
That's the
one
best
black
part.
black.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
the
pay
best part.
1 black early, and you have this plotted. So later on, you're like, okay, I need to cash this in,
Yep.
and you play this. I really like this effect. The other effect, I'm forgetting the name. Reprocess. Reprocess does sacrifice artifacts, creatures, and lands to draw that many cards.
Hmm.
And Bantu the Glorified,
Yeah,
or
Bontu.
like no, God Eternal Bantu.
Got
God
it.
Eternal Bantu does this, and I love this type of effect.
Yeah, it's really good in black, and you get a lot of upside for stacking your own stuff.
Yeah. The next card is at least that I want to talk about
Yep.
is Rush of the Dread.
Yep.
1 black for a sorcery with Spree. 1 mana, target opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. 2 mana, target opponent discards half their cards in their hand, rounded up. And 2 mana, target opponent loses half their life, rounded up. So, Mono Black is back on the table, boys, because Bloodletter
Yep.
of Aklazots is 1 black for a 2/4 creature vampire demon with flying that says if an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead.
Hmm.
This is from Ixalan.
Yep. It's
And
standard
Rush of
legal.
Dread
Yep.
is this next set. So target opponent loses half their life rounded up, and then they lose twice that much.
Yeah.
This is a 1/2 punch.
Yep.
4 mana, one of them, 5 mana, the other one, you're done.
Really strong and really easy to pull off too.
Yeah.
Very easy. So it makes for a cheap standard deck too, because I don't think those cards are gonna be like super expensive.
The Bloodletter is $17, $18.
I mean, hey man, the other things are gonna be cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
We should talk about the legendary enchantments, because there's a bunch of them for
so
every color.
there's it's a named character joins up.
Yeah.
And it's joining up like it's a play on the Oath of Gideon or Oath of Teferi. They're joining up the gang,
Yep.
and this one specifically is Tiny Bones joins up. 1 black legendary enchantment. When Tiny Bones joins up, enters the battlefield, any number of target players each discard a card. Notably, you commit a crime because you're targeting.
Hmm.
And whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mills a card and loses one life.
Yeah.
So again, very all of them have different effects.
Hmm.
You can compare them to the oaths. I personally haven't. There's only one that's like okay notable,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I'm not really keen on these. They're for specific decks.
There are definitely for specific decks. There's one, I think it's two colored, that's kind of cool. I think we're gonna talk about it eventually when we get to the multicolor cards, but yeah. Tiny Bonus is cute. I can quickly talk about that one. Tiny Bones, the pickpocket. He's obviously very low costed because it's always Tiny Bones. One black for a 1/1 skeleton rogue with that touch. Whenever Tiny Bones, the pickpocket, deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from target player's graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. The keyword here is deal combat damage, which of course you can kind of like prep the deck to do exactly this. But it's definitely just a sort of a for a commander type of thing, and you really need to kind of build around it for to be able to pull that off. I think I still like more the original Tiny Bones. It's much stronger, and it makes for a better deck than this one could be. If we're talking about commander, I don't even think this is going to do anything in standard at all. So yeah,
No.
yeah.
But that's basically the last card I want to talk about in
Cool,
black.
cool. Let's do red.
Red, the first card is Calamity, Galloping Inferno.
Mhm.
I cannot remember what card it is, but there's something that goes infinite with this card.
Okay. Guys, tell us in the comments.
I
We
just
don't know.
can't remember.
Yeah.
It's 4 red for a 4/6 legendary creature horse mount, Calamity, Galloping Inferno. It has haste. Whenever it attacks while saddled, choose a non-legendary creature that saddled it this turn. Create a tapped an attacking token that's a copy of it. Sacrifice it. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's probably something that like then copies Calamity, but it makes like a non-linear copy. And since it's a new Calamity, maybe start repeating the process. Maybe it's that. I don't know. But
Or
because they
I
would
think
need to copy each other, I guess.
I think no, I think it has to do maybe like with a creature that whenever it deals combat damage, you take an extra combat.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think it has something to do with that.
Yeah, because then it untaps, you had another battle phase. Yeah, I can see it.
Interesting card is Cunning Coyote.
Yes.
This is
reference
just
to
Wily Coyote.
references.
And
References. Memes for the kids. Yeah, or for the old people. But yeah.
Yeah, the next card I am actually interested in talking about is the Great Train Heist.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
It's 1 mana for an instant as free. 2 red, untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there's an additional combat phase after this one, so you can only cast that ability to have that ability during combat phase.
Yep.
2 mana, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 red mana, choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to that player, create a tapped treasure token.
Yeah.
This is very good. I really like this.
Yeah. It's like I'm gonna attack you. You don't have creatures, you don't have anything. I have like 5 creatures, I have no blockers. I'm gonna do all my modes. I'm gonna get a bunch of treasures. I'm gonna get another battle phase, which means like it gets to trigger again the last one, right? Like the choose target opponent, because if you're doing 2 battle phases, you're getting twice the tap treasures. Yeah, that's
so I attack
crazy.
I attack you, I tap all my creatures.
Yep.
I cast this. I choose how many modes I want, probably all 3. I hit you. I make a bunch of tap treasures, and then I go attack you again and do it again.
I just noticed this. I don't know if you noticed this already. There's a little plus sign for these spree cards.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's a cool design? Because it looks wonky.
I like it.
Yeah.
As in, you pay 1 plus that much.
Sure, but it does not feel like it was thought out very well. I don't feel like it was thought out very well.
I personally like it.
Okay.
I like Hellspur,
okay.
Posse Boss, 2 red for a 2/4 creature lizard rogue. Other outlaws you control have haste. It's a very broad term for a lot of creatures get haste.
Yeah.
And when it enters, you create 2/1/1 red mercenary creature tokens that can tap. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So they can enter that same turn and tap that same turn to give something +1/+0.
It will
Or
probably be the
attack.
Hell Spur, and then it would just because this is other, so
No.
it doesn't
Yeah,
boost.
other. Yeah.
Sad. Still good though.
No, yeah, I definitely like it.
Yeah.
And I like Magda the Horde Master.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So she's 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary creature dwarf berserker. Whenever you commit a crime, create a tapped treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Sacrifice 3 treasures. Create a 4/4 scorpion dragon creature token with flying and haste. So very reminiscent of old Magda.
Not as strong as old
a lot
Magda.
less broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Very fixed. Very fixed Magda.
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, a interesting card is someone was talking about Erasable Wolverine, 2 in a red for creature Wolverine. He's a common for a 3/2. When he enters the battlefield, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card. 2 in a red for plot. People were talking about this for Popper.
Yeah, you can plot it, leave it alone, and then another turn it goes down for free, and you get an extra card. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like, is this like a reference to like a Tasmanian devil? Like if we're going with the motif of some of these cards being like Looney Tunes characters.
I mean, it's a Tasmanian devil is its own animal, so it could be a wolf. It's just a Wolverine.
I'm just saying because of the background, it looks like very Looney Tuny. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Let's see. There's a reprint around here if I remember. Oh, there's the Resilient Roadrunner, of course. The
Resilient Roadrunner, and right next to it, a card that will see play.
Yes.
Return the Favor.
Yep.
It's red for instant spree. You pay 1 mana to copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy, or +1 and change the target spell or ability with a single target. Because when I go to play it's like when Chris finally goes to play his Stasis Oracle.
Yep.
And I let it resolve, and its trigger goes on the stack, and he decides to play his Demonic Consultation. I'm gonna play the Return the Favor, copy his Thassa's Oracle trigger, and play my own Demonic Consultation to win on top of him.
Exactly. Yep. It's very good. And it's in terms of cost, it's a cheap deflecting SWAT 2 because it changes the target of a single spell with the ability with another single target.
A Dockside entered. I copy it.
Exactly. Yeah. It has a lot of versatility.
Triggered ability or activated ability. Sisei ability trigger. You activated a Sisei ability. Okay, I copy it. It is very versatile. I really like that
as an uncommon too. Is so good.
Yes.
Scorching Shot is good for standard. 2 red. Scorching Shot deals 5 damage to target creature. That means it can kill Shieldred, which is like the bane of standard. So you can kill it for 2 mana. So there you go.
Next card, Slick Shot Show Off. 1 in a red for a 1/2 flying haste. The flying is very key.
Yes.
Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, the show off gets +2/+0, and it has plot.
That's the important part.
This card, people were even talking about maybe even trying in standard. Not in standard, in modern.
Yeah.
Because the 2 mana, and then you cast like something like mutagenic growth. This becomes a 4/2, like a 5/3.
Yeah.
Actually, no, a 5.
No,
it
becomes a 6.
1, 2. Sorry,
because it's +5. It's a 6/5.
7. No.
7. No.
God damn it! It's a big boy.
It's a big boy. Yeah.
It deals
it's 6.
a lot of damage.
It's 6. 6/5. A 6/5 for 2 mana. Yeah, it's ridiculously strong. There's obviously Terror of the Peaks, $40 or $50 card. So
it's one of the best value cards in the set.
Yep. So you know what Terror of the Peaks does, and we're going on to green.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
In green, Bristly Bill is interesting. The Spine Sower, 1 in a green for a 2/2 with landfall, and when our land enters, put a +1 counter on a creature. You pay 5 mana to double the number of +1 counters on each creature you control. The
Yep.
reason this is interesting is because for 2 mana and 2 mana 2/2 as a repeatable pump effect, it is
Hmm.
very cheap for what it does.
Yeah.
But for
I
the
like
most
this.
part, I'm not.
Yeah, no, it's not like a very splashy card, but it's a cool card. Like I'm pretty sure this in the future is going to, if they decide to do the beginners commander decks that they used to do. They did for like one or
Oh,
two cycles. This could probably just be like a face commander because it's a very introductory card into what green does the best. You know, landfall abilities, pumping spells, and putting +1/+1 counters on creatures. So it's a lot of like basic green stuff for someone who's like going into Magic. So I like it for that. Like it's kind of cool.
uh,
This one
next,
though.
the next card I want to talk about. Oh, you want to talk about that one? Go for it.
Oh, because Colossal Rattleworm is pushed. Yes. Colossal Rattleworm. It's 2 colorless and 2 green for a 6/5. It's a worm. Colossal Rattleworm has flash as long as you control a desert, which this set has a bunch of deserts. So it's going to be very easy for this to have flash. It has trample. And then for 1 colorless and a green, exile Colossal Rattleworm from your graveyard. Search your library for a desert card and put it onto battlefield tap, then shuffle. This is ridiculously pushed. The fact that it
Yeah,
has flash very
I,
easily, you can get
I
flash.
didn't even I didn't even realize this card was like I didn't even know
Yes.
about this
No,
card.
this is insanely pushed. I read about this card. I'm like, this is insane. For 4 mana, it's a 6/5 with
This is
trample.
the
It can be
stampiest of stampies.
flashed. It's yes. And then if it just so happens to die, it'll ramp you.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell's Wizards were thinking. They were thinking maybe Green isn't doing too much in standard lately, so let's just give him something ridiculous. So yeah, no, this is if you see a mono green deck or a deck that has green in it, and you see a desert and you see the opponent leaving 4 mana open, be afraid. Be very afraid.
the next card is quite far down.
Okay, let's go.
The next card I personally want to talk about is Smuggler's Surprise.
Okay. Oh, Smuggler Surprise. Yes, the other spree card.
Yeah, it's a instant spree for 1 green. Pay 2 mana, mill 4 cards, and you may put up to 2 creature cards and or land cards from among them, milled cards into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
For a green, you may put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. And for 1 green, creatures you control with power 4 or greater gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. This does everything green wants to do. You
Yes.
cheat 2 things into play for the price of 6 mana and protect them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is very, very good.
Very flavorful based on the card and the name too. So I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
I
And
love
thinking this through.
I love how it implies that people from Theros think the Trojan horse gimmick can work on different planes.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see that.
Reprint of Snakeskin Veil. You guys know what it does. Gives a +1/+1 counter and hexproof. And I think on tapping it, no, it just gives hexproof. But yeah, still strong. Now we're with the multicolor stuff. Is there anything multicolor you want to talk?
First one I want to talk about is the Lazav, but not about what it does. His
Mhm.
ability to do it, on what it does is quite mid. It's 1 blue black for a 1/4 linear creature shapeshifter. Whenever you commit a crime, put a +1 counter on Lazav and exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, he becomes a copy with this, except with this ability.
Mhm.
Like because it only triggers once each turn until end of turn.
Yeah.
The interesting part someone mentioned, people like how Lazav, ever since he was revealed, he started becoming less and less apparent. So
Okay.
his first reveal was a mythic. His second reveal was a mythic. His third reveal was a rare.
Mhm. And now we're going to
Then a
uncommon.
rare. Now
Yeah.
this is an uncommon. We're gonna miss
Mm.
another uncommon version, and then the next will be like a common version, and like it's like a blind seer, which is like an Urza card, but he's like
Mhm.
in disguise and you don't know about it.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be something like that. It's like, oh yeah, it's a common, but it's secretly Lazav, and you don't know.
That's interesting. I like that from like a lore perspective or like
Yeah.
a design standpoint. Yeah. Yeah.
Satoru the Infiltrator for a blue and a
Mhm.
black for a 2/3 menace legendary creature human ninja rogue. Whenever he or another creature enters the battlefield, if none of them were cast or no mana was spent to cast them, draw a card.
Yeah, this does a
Instant
lot of
staple in Utica.
things. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you plot, if you if you cascade, if you do
Ninjutsu,
anything, ninjutsu is very key. I love it
Link.
because exactly ninjutsu because it's like a ninjutsu is not a ninjutsu. That's very good. It can stick very easily in a ninjutsu type deck. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a cool? I'm
Yeah,
guessing
yeah.
you like that one.
A cool the unrepentant. You'd be
Hmm.
surprised actually. A cool the unrepentant. Black red for a 5/5 flying trample legendary creature scorpion dragon rogue. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate this. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn.
Yes,
It has too many restrictions.
it
They try to
definitely
make it
does.
big,
Yeah.
and it has too many restrictions. One, the mana cost.
Hmm.
Two, 3 other creatures. Three, only as a sorcery, and 4, only once each turn.
Yeah.
It has too many restrictions. In addition to that, this card, like in the story, was known for like its stinger, and it doesn't even have death touch.
Oh, that's true. Flavor fail.
So it's a
You're
flavor
right.
fail there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess they're thinking it's four mana for a 5/5 that has flying and trample, and
Nah,
like the
it has
upside.
there's so many hoops for different things. I just feel like this ability should have been on something else.
Mhm. Fair, fair. There is a Rakdos.
Uh,
Oh, speaking of
yes,
Rakdos, there is a joined
Ra-
up too.
yeah, Rakdos. So I want to talk about Rakdos the muscle
Yeah.
specifically.
Okay, muscle. Let's
Rakdos
go.
the muscle, 2 black for and a red for a 6/5 flying trample, demon mercenary, legendary creature. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, exile cards equal to its mana value from the top of target player's library until your next end step. You may play those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells.
Mhm.
And you can sacrifice another creature. Rakdos the muscle gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. Activate only once each turn. That
Yeah.
last line of text, they're so damn afraid.
Yeah,
Why
they're
do
very
they
afraid.
keep doing this?
Yep, they're very
If so,
afraid.
oh, I'm gonna kill this. Oh, I'm gonna sacrifice a creature to make him indestructible. His trigger goes on the stack. Oh, in response to that, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
kill it.
kill
I'm,
it.
I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna
I'm gonna
kill it.
sacrifice. Oh, wait, I can't.
I can't. Yep. They're really scared of
They're
because they're
really,
afraid they're just gonna be like, well, I casted a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna sack everything now, and I'm just gonna get a bunch of stuff for free, and I win.
I'm a bit sad with this one.
Yeah, and from I guess a lore perspective, so this man was in a murder mystery party, and now he's in a desert.
Yeah.
This is very weird. I don't.
Um,
It's kind of odd. I don't know if I've ever
if
seen characters go from one set to the other, and it's not like a block set, and they're there. I don't know if I.
uh,
Yeah.
like again, I mentioned this is supposed to be like the collab set, and everyone's like supposed to join up. We can probably expect one next year
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The one thing I am going to say is that in Ravnica lore, it is implied that Rakdos can already planeswalk
I
because
see.
he is not originally from Ravnica because he decided to live in Ravnica. It is implied.
So you're telling me that eventually there's a Rakdos commander eventually coming? I
Yeah, like
guess.
planeswalker, maybe. Like I don't think so. Like
You don't think so? Okay.
him as a demon can just planeswalk.
I see. I see. So demons naturally can place well. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
I'm not sure if all demons, but some probably.
Gotcha.
Um,
Jolene too. You don't like Jolene?
this Jolene's quite mid.
Well, it's
Uh,
uncommon. You can't make it push. So to be
no,
fair,
yeah.
I want to talk about Roxanne because she makes a thing that I haven't seen in a decade. So
Yeah.
Roxanne Starfall Savant, 3 colorless and Gruul for a 4/3 cat druid. Whenever Roxanne enters the battlefield or attacks, create a tap colorless artifact token named Meteorite. With when Meteorite enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage to any target and add 1 mana of any color. Whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. So it's odd because Meteorite is a very, 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 very bad mana rock that costs 5 mana and it does exactly the same ability. I only remember it because I used to play, I think it was Magic 2013 on my cell phone, and this card was in all the decks that I played for no reason because they kind of push it on you. So that's the only reason why I remember this bad card. So it's interesting that they kind of put like a conjure type effect on a paper magic card because that's something they don't often do. because it starts to get confusing. I know they did it with the, I think it was like a Joda. I don't remember. It was a card in Modern Horizons that you
Garth
could
the One-Eyed.
right, Garth the One Eye. Thank you. So it's not something you get to see often because it can get, like I said, it could get a little confusing when you start conjuring cards, but you're not really conjuring them. So yeah, I just wanted to mention it because it's an effect I haven't seen in a long time. So kind of cool, maybe for like a type of Gruul deck. You could kind of make a bunch of artifact tokens with either meteorite or whatever, and then just do a lot of ramp.
The next card I want to talk about is Black White.
Yes, black white. Let's go.
Cabal Profiteering Mayor.
Yeah.
Whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them, create a tap token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this is very good.
This is very good for
But
3 mana. Yeah.
But it can also be baited out in a way. If you find a way to make a token, you make 1 token and then actually play something like your dockside.
Yeah.
So because it only triggers once each turn, that's the problem. But
Yeah.
the second ability of making people lose life is quite relevant too.
Yeah, because you can just passively take their life away, and you're gonna put them on a hard spot because if they only have enough mana to play the thing that they really want to play, they have to play bad in order to not get value, like free value for the combo. So yeah, it's kind of good. It's for 3 mana. It's really good.
The next card is a black-green card, at least the one I wanted to cover.
Okay.
Is
oh my god.
Pillage the Bog.
Oh my god. There's a bunch of. You were right. They took a bunch of partners and stuck them in this set. I just realized.
Yeah, no, this is a collaboration set. Yeah,
but it's a bunch of commander creatures because it's Crom, Malcolm. That's cool. Okay, so go ahead.
Pillage the Bog, green and a black for a sorcery. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is twice the number of lands you control. Put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And you plot for 1 black and a green.
Crazy.
I like the alliteration of plot being to plot to plot as in to scheme, or plot as in to plot land, and pledge and this one cares about land.
Yeah.
I like that, but also this could basically be a tutor at that point.
Yeah. If you have like 7 mana or something, that's basically
7 lands. That's 14 cards.
That's 14. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
In a standard set, you're gonna find something that you want.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, and you can either plot it so you can do it for later, or you can even if it's like at your second turn, you play a land, you play this, you're still looking at 4 cards for 2 mana. That's better than anticipate. You know what I mean? It's pretty good.
Next card I want to talk about, but I don't think the next card I want to talk about is the Gitrog Ravenous Ride.
Okay.
It's 3 black and a green for a 6/5 trample haste legendary creature frog horror mount. Whenever the Gitrog Ravenous Rides deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that's saddled it this turn. If you do, draw X cards, then put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is a sacrifice creature's power. This is the reason why Saddle is a sorcery as well. This is another of the reasons. They tested specifically with this card. They tested it out and they were like, okay, no, this is too broken.
Yeah. We need to make it either bump the saddle cost or make saddle sorcery speed. And they decided for sorcery speed.
Yeah.
Because it would just fix the other problems. Yeah. But it's really good Gitrog for sure.
Yeah. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
There was one I wanted. But it's way down. So we're still good. Yeah, go ahead.
Ty Joaquin.
Okay.
Perfect shot.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one you want to talk about?
No, go ahead. You talk about it.
Okay. Whenever a legendary creature, human mercenary, she's a 2/3 for a red and a white. Whenever a sorcerer you control deals non-combat damage to a creature equal to that creature's toughness, draw a card. So it has to be exact.
Yeah.
Anyways, X tap. If a sorcerer you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage plus X instead. People really like this card. mostly because it's drawing cards for and like it's very interesting design in Boros,
Yeah.
and it can. There's already people that said that they gone relatively infinite,
Yeah.
or at least drawing a bunch of cards and basically remove all creatures in play with this ability and draw a lot of cards. I like this a lot. I like her art. I like just in general what people can brew around this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, Next card, I don't really want to talk about its ability. I just want to mention there's Paul Bunyan
Yeah.
a reference in Bonnie Paul.
There's a new Oko.
There's the new Oko, which is very good.
Yeah.
People have already gone infinite with this, so you
hmm
do a either a clever impersonator and or no, a clever impersonator can't be because it has to be a spark double
hmm
with a doubling effect, and you just -5 and you go infinite, and you can
Yep.
just either draw 2 cards and discard a card, and you just go infinite that way, or -1 to make 3/3 elks. And if you draw draw your deck and then make it 3/3 elks, and you haven't happen to have a haste enabler, then there you go.
Yep.
Um, Ariette the Beguiler.
hmm
One white, blue, black for a 4/4 legendary creature, human warlock, lifelink. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura's mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as the aura is attached to it. This is a steal your cards effect. This is really good, and it does motivate you to play with the bigger auras that most people don't play with.
Exactly. Yep.
Uh, I'm just thinking of like a massive aura that pumps for some reason, and
hmm
is like your creature wants to be with me because I treat it better.
I read about this card because it sounded interesting. Like stealing stuff sounds kind of cool, but looking at the enchantment auras that cost a lot of mana, they're mostly pretty awful. And generally, they are designed to exile the creature because they're like basically Oblivion rings, but with more costing more and be like worse. So the problem is you're basically going to be like exiling the cards you want to steal, and there's very few auras. They're very good, and people were thinking that this set was going to include a lot of stuff for area to like kind of synergize with, but people found out very quickly that that wasn't the case. So it's a card that maybe in the future, if there's like another return to Theros, could be a possibility where they kind of have like big beefy auras, so then Ariad could actually have good auras to put in their deck, and she be able to steal like really beefy creatures. So it's kind of okay.
The next
Mhm.
card I'm interested in,
Yeah.
maybe the one you're interested in, Obeka.
Oh yeah, Obeka's insane. Very insane. Yes. Obeka, splitter of seconds, colorless. And this is our Grixis colors. 2/5. Over Warlock, which has menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, thank God it has menace. You get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. So go ahead, tell us how broken this is.
So with any effect that does like
hmm
just at the beginning of your upkeep, ones that come to mind immediately are the courts
Yeah.
from Eldraine that were recently last year.
hmm
It's like each one does something very good. If you happen to be the monarch, they do something better, and having that effect multiple times can be like backbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a card. Specifically, it's a one blue instant.
One blue instant. Oh no, we passed that on the time.
Twisted Image.
Twisted image, yeah.
One in a blue. It's not in the
Oh,
set.
gotcha. Sorry, yeah.
So one in a blue for an instant. Switch target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Draw a card.
Yeah.
Oh, I attack you with Obeka. You're not gonna block.
Yep.
Switch power and toughness. It's a 5/2 now.
Yeah. Yep.
Deal 5 damage. I get 5 additional upkeeps.
Yep.
That is so strong.
So Seth was talking about this card having 3 levels of value. So the first value would be at the, like you said, the beginning of players' upkeep steps. You get other stuff. So like the first step, the first basic step is at the beginning of your upkeep cards. Usually they're equipments on enchantments or creatures. The stuff like Phyrexian Arena, Shield or Whispering One. So the second level of this would be the suspend cards. A lot of suspend cards, because if you have suspend cards, they're gonna be casted very quickly with Obeka, because at the beginning of your upkeep is when you take the suspend counters of the cards. And on the third level, this is the meme level. You can have no, not the meme level. Sorry, the third level of this is having cards that make you win at the beginning of your upkeep. We're talking about
Oh
Mechanized
yeah.
Production. We're talking about Reveling Reaches. We're talking about
Ooh.
Hell Kite Tyrant, where at the beginning of your upkeep you would win if you have 15 or more artifacts, and if you have Reveling Reaches and Mechanized Production, that's basically 3 win cons in those colors. So that's like the level 3. Now Seth obviously was spicy, and he gave you like the hard mode ability. If you have the epic spells, you can just have the epic spells here, and you will be able to never cast another spell again. But every upkeep, you're going to either be able to do Eternal Domination, Undying Flames, or Never-Ending Torment, which Eternal Domination lets you search for the opponent's an artifact, a creature, enchantment, or land card from the opponent's library and put it on your battlefield for free. Or with Undying Flames, you get to remove cards from the top of your library from the game until you remove a non-land card, and it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the damage to that card's converted mana cost. Or Never-Ending Torment, search target player's library for X cards, where X is the number of cards in your hand, remove them from the game. So you have 3 possible epic cards you can also put there. So this has a lot of utility, and I know a lot of people, it's going to be one of the favorite commanders from this set for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next card is Annie Joins Up.
Yes, I want to talk about that one, but you go ahead. It's really good.
I'm just going to read it. 1 red, green, white for a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yeah, that's it. It's Panharmonicon, but even better. Because even though it's legendary, which makes it worse, it says whenever a trigger ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers additional time. So it goes beyond enter the battlefield triggers, and it's every time something triggers a legendary creature. So it's really strong.
This is very good.
Very good. Yeah.
The last multicolored card I'm interested in is Riku of Many Paths.
Oh,
with
yeah.
so many modal things and choose this and choose that. This works with Spree. This works with any any of those other effects. I like this effect. It's blue, green, red for a 3/3 legendary creature human wizard. Whenever you cast a modal spell, choose up to X, where X is the number of times you chose a mode for that spell. Exile top card of your library until your next turn. You may play it. The end of your next turn. Put a +1 counter on Riku against trample, or make a 1/1 a 1/1 bird. I just like this the idea of this. I don't think he's gonna be like really strong, but he's just really fun in the having all the options at all times and getting rewarded for choosing as many options.
Yeah. Is it the first card that actually says the word modal in a Magic card?
I'm not sure, but I think so.
Right?
I haven't heard that word.
I haven't heard, like, we talk about it by passing, but we've never seen like an explicit thing in a Magic card. That's interesting. It's like taking Magic the Gathering player jargon and like putting, well, it's not jargon because like everyone officially calls these cards modal cards, but it's never been in a card.
It's like mill.
You know? Exactly. It's like they're keywording things now, like mill. Yeah. So yeah.
The other card, but the last card, I think the last card I want to talk about.
Go ahead. It's an artifact.
Lava Spur Boots.
Lava Spur Boots, right here.
Artifact equipment for 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 haste, and ward 1 for equip 1.
Yeah,
it's your poor man's Swiftfoot Boots.
Exactly, very poor man's, but it's still good. You know, it's cool. You can have an extra one if you have already Swiftfoot Boots. Yeah. So yeah. And the beautiful lands. I mean, I like them. I don't know if you like them, but I like them. They're cool. They're like weird Pokemon lands, but they're using like the negative space of the plains. In this case, it's deserts to put the mana symbols there. So
yeah,
and there's a bunch of deserts. Yeah, there's a bunch of deserts. And very quickly, let's go then to. Let's take this out for a second. Okay, so those are the cards. I don't know. Final thoughts. What do you think, JP, about this set?
I actually I'm surprised at how much I like the mechanics of the set.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of cards I'm actually very much interested in. I am interested in the commander cards. They come out like we're recording this on a Wednesday. They come out on Thursday, so tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm very much interested in seeing how Olivia Opulent Outlaw the deck. I'm very very much interested. I'm gonna pre-order it already. I even if I'm not gonna like the cards in the deck, I really want to make her.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in that. But I'm really surprised at how much I like this set.
Yeah, it's a cool set. I'm surprised too. I This is a set that I didn't care for, and like always, they always find a way to hook me in. There's a couple cards that I'm kind of interested in. Um, I like there's a lot of legendaries. Obviously, that's beneficial for Commander. Maybe a bit too much this time around. Like I kind of agree that's kind of they're kind of like going a little crazy with the legendaries. Um, I like the plot mechanic. I like the spree mechanic a lot. The spree mechanic, I think, is the thing I like the most. The saddle one is all right. And committing a crime, I just feel like that in a few years it might be a mistake. If it's not a mistake right now, we'll see when the cards come out and people start playing with them. But I think committing a crime might be a mistake because since it's so easy to do, if there's any good card out there that has committing a crime and it's very accessible and very easy to do, people are going to abuse the hell out of it. So I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about that mechanic in particular. But everything else seems cool. I like that deserts are back. I always like deserts. I always wish there were more deserts since Amonkhet days. Not because I play with deserts, but I remember there's this one commander that cares about deserts. I think he has Desert Walk or something like that. So it's kind of cool that people get to play with more deserts now and be able to unleash whatever the hell that card did because I didn't even remember what it does. So it's kind of cool in that regard. Um, I like the big scorecards, even though we're not going to talk about it this episode, but I like some of the big scorecards. So it's a set that, like JP said, it'd be kind of crazy not to buy at least a couple of boosters just because there's so much stuff packed in this set because Wizards had no choice that you're gonna get some good value out of your boosters, unless everything tanks in price ridiculously, which could be a possibility. But if there's stuff that's like a few bucks, you're probably gonna get your money back every time you buy a booster. Thankfully, the big score was put in this set because when we talk about the big score cards, they're like the same thing that happened with Aftermath. They're big splashy spells that in no way they're going to be used in standard. I feel like maybe 2 or 3 of them might be used, but for the most part, those cards are not going to be used. So thankfully, they're added into this set because if they were alone again in another mini set, they would have tanked in price again, like they did with Aftermath. So the only thing I don't like is, and I know this, I'm not the first one to talk about this, but everyone just having a stupid cowboy hat. Like it's so ridiculous. It's like it really feels like an onset again.
Oh, that's something we didn't talk about.
I mean, we can quickly talk about it. I mean, we've seen this. Yeah, we've seen this a couple sets now.
People are saying if Magic has jumped the shark,
Yeah.
and not with this set because it became evident with this set. But last set, everything having a detective hat, and now this set, everything having a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
like yes, it's a cowboy. It's a cowboy themed set, and last one was a detective themed set. But it made no sense.
Yes, yes, it was a little odd. I wish it would just integrate the. Yes, exactly. Yes, I wish it would integrate better the genre. Like if you're doing murder mystery, integrate it better in the genre. Make either new characters or make characters that kind of feel assimilated to the planes, as opposed to just doing cosplay. Because it looks like skins. It looks like League of Legends skins, or it looks like you said like Secret Lairs, which is something we've seen before. Like I remember when we went to New Capenna, and New Capenna I think was probably the start of this, where there were like mafia people and you saw some characters. I think it was I forgot the Planeswalker guy. The broken one though, the Rakdos broken one. I forgot the one that Nixilis. Yeah, Nixilis. The normal version, I don't think he has a hat, but the alternate version, I believe he has a hat. And I think so, or maybe I'm just memory holding myself. I don't know. I know there was a couple of cards that shouldn't have had like mafia hats, and they had like fedoras, so it was a little weird. Okay, so it doesn't have a hat, thankfully. But there's some cards that do, right? I think this was the start. Or maybe I'm confusing with the secret layer that came out that was from New Capenna that had like a Troxa with a hat. And I think maybe that's why I'm thinking of this like that. But the thing is, like, yeah, they're not being a little creative with the plays. They're not being creative with the genre. They're just sticking the characters that we know already, and they're sticking them with a different hat. And it's kind of uninspired, if I'm being a little honest, especially you have such talented artists. They could probably come up with better ways to kind of showcase your planes. And the thing is, they become not memorable. What is the memorable aspect of this plane? Like it's gonna be like, oh, it's the set with everyone wearing a cowboy and it's in the desert. But there's nothing special about it. It's not like when and again, I don't care about lore, but like it's cool when you go to Ravnica. Ravnica feels like a place that exists in Magic, in Magic's history. Like it's a place where you planeswalk to, but you planeswalk into like the Western, like a John Wayne movie from the 40s. Like it's so weird. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. That's the set. That's the highlights that we wanted to talk about. Guys, what do you guys think about the set? Let us know in the comments below. And JP, where can the people find you?
You can find me here in the Cardboard Cave podcast. Hopefully, talking about more Magic later on. How about you, Orengo? You've been busy.
I have been busy. I've been on TV, like local TV, not like big TV, but I've been local TV, just talking about movies. I also do my podcasting. I even did like a new episode with John that by the time this episode comes out, it'll already be on my YouTube channel. We talked about the new movie called The First Omen. It's a prequel to The Omen from 1976. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, go ahead and see it. And yeah, we'll be on next week talking about the big score and the commander cards, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of commander cards are going to be spoiled. Probably, I don't know, 15 per deck. So it'll probably be 45, 60 new cards. So yeah, we'll see you around in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.